Well, folks, it's 5:30. It's time to begin our meeting. I want to remind you, my name is Scott Baldwin. I am currently conducting this meeting. This is the Board of Zoning Appeals. It's not Plan Commission. And we have our agenda here, and should any of you, for curiosity, want it, after the meeting, go see Nicole, and you can get a copy of it, should you be interested. But we're not at all going to discuss the upcoming zoning change. That will be in Plan Commission, which follows us. So I just want to, I'll make that clear over and over again. We just have our not too long of an agenda tonight. As you know, if you want a zoning change, many of you know, you go to Plan Commission, they recommend to City Council votes on it, one way or the other. But the Board of Zoning Appeals, well, this is, they call us a quasi-judicial board, which means you can bring your grievances here for $50 instead of $5,000. So, having said that, just once again, want to make sure everybody knows this is Board of Zoning Appeals, and all we're going to talk about is our little agenda here. So save up and be patient. We'll try to get through this as quickly as possible. Could we have a roll call?
Scott Baldwin.
Here.
Mark Acosta.
Here.
Nancy Burkhart. Here. Rick Ferris.
Here.
Carl Eaglin.
Here.
Board members, have you had a chance to review the minutes of last month's meeting?
Yes.
Are there any additions or corrections?
No. I'm here.
Take a motion to approve.
I move we approve as written.
Second.
Motion approve. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The minutes are accepted. First item on our agenda is renewals of conditional use permits. There are a total of, as you can see, 8 items on our agenda. Normally I read these because I think people that pay and follow the law should be rewarded. That's just my opinion, take it or leave it. But in interest of time, we'll just note that items number 1, 3, 4, 5, 7, and 8 have paid their renewals. No complaints.
I believe that property was sold.
Right, we'll get there in a minute.
Okay.
So these items have paid their renewal fees. There were no complaints. I move we renew these conditional uses.
Second that.
Do we, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
I oppose no. They're renewed. Now, as brought up, item number 6, Darlissa Davis, 206 Green Road, that has been sold, therefore that conditional use is expired, just for the record. And item number 2, as of this meeting, James Gurley, 2900 Wilson Avenue, has not paid his renewal fee, no complaints. I see here a note, applicant informed staff that business is closed. So he is no more, therefore, for the record, that one is expired. Moving on, we have 2 table applications. First is BZVD-24-49, Claude Rotet, requesting a variance from developmental standards for setbacks located at 826 Filillmore Street. Is there somebody here to speak about this application? Oh, seeing none, we'll put that one till the end of the meeting and give him another chance.
Are you sure it's not outside someplace? No one.
Oh, okay.
Well, we'll move on. Number 2 on the agenda, BZVD-25-9, Glenn Spencer, requesting variance from developmental standards to rebuild an accessory structure with 2-foot setback from west property line, 313 East Street. Is there somebody here to speak to that? Yes, sir. Come on up to the podium and give your name and address for the record, please.
Glenn Spencer, 313 East Street, Madison.
And could you explain what you have in mind?
So there's an existing garage structure there today. It's been deemed unsafe, So I'd like to remove that unsafe structure and build a new structure on the same footprint. So we're not going farther to the west, it's just, that's where the one sits today. So we tear that one down and then build an appropriate structure that's safe.
And I went past your place yesterday, and I noticed that you have like a carport thing.
That's to the neighbor's property, that's not actually, Yep.
So that's not your property?
no, just that shed / garage looking thing is the,
Okay.
that's what's gonna come down. The carport will stay on the neighbor's property.
Well, that was my only concern, speaking for myself. Board members, do you have any questions or comments?
No.
Use the same footprint as the old building.
Yes.
You're just rebuilding
New
a better...
material, yeah.
Yeah,
rather
I
than-
saw the state of your garage. I don't blame you.
Yep.
Okay, thank you, sir. You can have a seat. Would anybody in the audience like to speak for or against this application? Well, seeing none. Now, some of you are very familiar, some of you are not. The state of Indiana, when you apply for a variance from the standards of building, they have a provision that you can actually get a variance from strict standards, and that's them. There's 3 criteria. Normally, I would read them, but in interest of time, if you're interested, you can ask Nicole. She's always happy to help you. Or you can look it up on the internet. The 3 criteria, board members, I assume you've all read them.
Yes.
It's number 1's injurious to public health, property values, practical difficulties. Do any of you have any problem with the first criteria?
No.
Do any of you have any problem or any comments about the second criteria,
No.
property values? And do any of you have any objections or comments about the third criteria, practical difficulties? Do you agree there are practical difficulties?
Well, he's just building on the same footprint that he had before and making an unsafe structure into a safe structure.
Any other comments?
No issues with that.
Well, having gone over these and seen the board has no qualms about the 3 criteria, I move we approve this variance as submitted.
Second.
We have a roll call?
Rick Ferris,
Yes.
Nancy Burkhart.
Yes.
Mark Acosta,
Yes.
Carl Eaglin.
Yes.
Scott Baldwin.
Yes. Well, sir, we wish you well and appreciate your upgrading your property. The next item on the agenda, I'll ask once again, is Mr. Rotet, 826 Filillmore, anywhere? We'll wait until the end. We go to new applications. First item, BZCU-25-10, Pamela Phillips or Pamela Scroggins, requesting a conditional use permit under Category 581, resident motels, transient housing, retail, so forth. 123 St. Michael's Avenue. And if you could come up here, give your name and address for the record, please.
Good evening. My name is Pam Phillips. I'm here with my husband, and we live at 121 and 123 St. Michael's. It's a duplex.
We'll wait a second while you silence your cell phones. Thank you.
Previously, let me give a little background. I inherited this property. I grew up on this street, and we had lived on the south side and rented out the north side. And when my late husband passed away, I ended up moving to St. Louis, so I rented out both sides. But not being here, the house went in disarray because the last 2 renters were really hard on it. And that's why I'm looking to do short-term. It's an 1860s house, and I kind of blame myself partly because you need your eyes on it more often when it's that old. because you're really a caretaker of a house like that.
The big issue that I have and that the board has is two things, parking and quiet hours. Do you have a set of rules that you're going to abide?
Yes, sir.
Do you have them with you?
No, we just got them in our head right now, but we will. We've got very good neighbors on that street, and now that the Fairfield Inn is over there across the way from us, we have no problem with them, with noise. They have no problem with us.
Well, the reason I bring it up is because we have multitudes of Airbnb type things,
I understand.
and we've always required them to submit rules.
Sure.
And to date, I personally have heard one complaint. So it's working.
Yeah, it's
So
good.
that's very
That's good.
important to me.
Yeah,
And to fully, from my point of view, I don't mind anything else, but we need some rules.
sure. I can submit some.
Told about this, we've already been postponed a month,
Yeah,
so we needed to supply that, we would have them here.
but that's okay. We can supply them. It's no
Well, it's something
problem.
we can put in the conditions
Yeah.
too.
Yeah,
How do we
that's
supply
fine. That's fine.
I'm sorry?
How do we supply them?
Just in writing.
You can
Yeah.
write them down
Okay.
and give them to Nicole over
Sure,
there
we can
in
do
the
that.
building
Yeah.
office.
Get in contact
Yeah,
with her.
yeah,
Mhm.
we can do that. It's no problem.
Board members, any other questions?
So is it still a duplex that,
Yes.
Are you
Yeah,
living
we
on
kept
one
it a
half?
duplex when I inherited it.
Yes.
so you're gonna live on one half and rent the other
Well,
half?
no,
or-
we're redoing the south side, and we're thinking, because there is so many B&Bs since we started this project just a few years ago, we may remain with a rental on the south side, because there is needs for that.
But you're gonna be in town to watch
Yeah,
everything?
we
so
have
you'll be
other
in charge of-
property.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. So how many bedrooms for this 120?
The north side,
Yeah.
two,
Two bedrooms?
Mhm.
So
one
you're-
bath,
So you're thinking maximum occupancy, 4 people?
yes.
Parking, of course, is street parking.
Yeah,
Both
we
sides.
have parking in the back, because we have a two-car garage, so we don't have any problem with that.
Their garage won't be rented,
No,
maintained,
no.
so it's just the front units.
So just to make it clear in my head, you're
Sure.
talking about 2 rental units.
Yes, one short-term, one long-term, remain long-term. And if that doesn't work, we'll go back to Plan A and make it long-term if the B&B doesn't work. We just think we need to try something like that because, like I said, the last 2 tenants were very hard on it.
Board members, any other questions, comments?
None here.
Would anybody in the audience like to speak for or against this proposed conditional use? Okay, you folks can have a seat.
Thank you.
Now, once again, many of you know how this works, but the state of Indiana has created this list of 9 conditions that BZAs have to answer and prove that they're satisfied with. And they include such things as this the proper use, will it be harmonious, hazardous or disturbing, things like that. You can, if you're interested in studying this, shameless time out. Learn this stuff, people. This is your government. Learn it, read it. High school civics class. I know we all slept through it, but go somewhere and get a copy of these. Learn how it's done. End of shameless digression. Board members, in interest of time tonight, we will go down, since you have one last chance. Any comments, questions? None?
None here.
We will go down, I will just ask about number 1 and see if you, 2, 3, et cetera, and see if you have any comments or objections, if that's all right with you. First one, this is under category 581. Another one for you folk that are not familiar. The current zoning ordinance has a whole bunch of categories of uses for each zoning district, and there's a lot of them. And this one falls under number 581, retail, hotels, tourist courts, etc. So, number one, do you agree 581 is the proper use?
Yes.
Yes.
Number two, general objectives of the comprehensive plan? In agreement?
Yes.
Number three, harmonious with the character of the area?
Yes.
Yes.
Number four, disturbing to existing or future uses of neighbors.
No,
No.
as long as house rules are provided.
And I would agree with that, as long as there are house rules provided and enforced. Number five, this is utilities, et cetera.
Yes.
No problem. Number six, this will not harm the economic welfare of the community.
Correct.
You're all in accord. Number seven, excess production, traffic noise, et cetera.
None.
And I think with enforcement of rules, that will be no problem. Number eight, interfering with traffic.
No.
Number nine, loss of historic features,
No.
and I think this helps preserve them.
I do recommend we address our preferred house rules in the motion.
Sounds good to me. Well, having gone over our findings of fact, board members have no objections. Would one of you like to make a motion?
I make a motion we approve the BZ CU-25-10, provided that they can provide the house rules for this property.
And could I suggest something? We do things kind of informally here. This is not the U.S. Senate. Could I suggest we include in the rules, in your motion, maximum of 4 people, maximum of 2 rentals, and the rules to include quiet hours from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. to 8 a.m.
Sounds okay to me.
So to make it clear, the motion will be, and did you say a time, 1 year?
No, I did not give a time.
What time would you like?
Well, what's the normal? 1 year?
1 year.
Do 1 year.
So the motion is to approve the conditional use, 1 year, maximum of 4 people. Rules, this is contingent upon submitting rules to Nicole Shell in the building office. Rules to include quiet hours from 10 p.m. to 8 a.m. I think I've covered it all.
A second.
Can we have a roll call?
Carl Eaglin,
Yes.
Mark Acosta,
Yes.
Nancy Burkhart,
Yes.
Rick Ferris,
Yes.
Scott Baldwin.
Yes. And I want to remind you, folk, this is contingent upon submitting some rules, which include the one thing I've asked, or the one thing that was in the motion. So just want to make that clear.
Is there a deadline for getting those submitted?
Since they're a condition, it will need to be provided before I can record the conditional use. So the conditional use won't be active until it's recorded at the courthouse. So whenever they'd like to start. You can bring it to me anytime. Yeah, because I'll include it with the recording.
But you won't get the use issued until you submit some rules.
We've known about this, we've been doing this for 2 months.
Okay. Well, we wish you well. Moving on, next item on the agenda. BZCU-25-11, Jennifer Cassell, a conditional use permit for Category 130 Apartments, 401 East 3rd Street. We have somebody here to represent them. Yes, sir, if you could give or yes, ma'am, or one of you could give your name and address for the record.
Good
Explain to the board your situation.
Absolutely. Jennifer Sissel and Jimmy Sissel, 3760 East County Road, 450 South, North Vernon. So we had originally purchased 504 Walnut Street, which is next to the property in question here. When we did, we started noticing a bad mouse problem. And then we looked in the windows and we noticed that not a lot of work was, no work was being done on the property next to it. So we used a realtor, we tracked down who owned the property. We offered to buy it from them. They originally rejected us. So then about 6 months later, we reached back out and they accepted the offer that we gave them. Since then, we have renovated and had rented out one apartment. And actually the new manager at the new Hobby Lobby that opened up when it first opened was our first tenant in that particular apartment. We do have several units throughout Walnut Street, and we have not had any issues with our tenants. And we have a very rigorous screening process, which includes a background check, credit check, employment verification. And we also have a very, very detailed lease. And so what we are wanting to do is fix up an additional apartment in this building. It is a 4-unit building, and we've been paying taxes on it as a 4-unit building. We've been paying utilities on it like a 4-unit building. And we're just looking to add one additional apartment right now that we can get renovated and rented out.
So you're looking at 2 apartments at the moment.
Correct, yes.
Okay. Yes, the board remembers this one very well.
And we did read the notes, so
We remember the neighborhood war over this place. And thank you for bringing it up. I read
slowly
your
but surely that
statement.
we're getting there.
Thank you for your rules, your background checks, and all the stuff you're doing here on findings of fact number 3, board members, which I assume you've read. Previously, there were, I believe, 4 apartments in there. I think there were 4, you want 2, and it was pretty seedy and shady, and there were a lot of troubles.
We heard couches on the front porch, or on the sidewalk, things
Remember
like
it
that.
well. Board members, do you have any questions, comments?
That will be a big improvement to the area.
Will your apartment be split upstairs, downstairs? How are you gonna split the building? The reason I'm asking is parking.
Yep.
There's some parking out on Walnut, there's some on Third.
Yep.
So that could, depend on how you set your apartments up, where your parking will be. There's a handicap parking place on Third Street also.
Yes,
That needs to be on, so, and you have farming parking across the street.
yes,
So it kind of puts you in a bind there for parking,
yes.
so.
This is a single bedroom unit that we're looking to upgrade, so
Oh, okay,
I would expect one more vehicle.
okay. 'Cause I haven't noticed any parking problems lately.
Mhm.
And this is somebody's taking care of
Typically, when
business
we
down there.
come by to do work or check on
Yeah.
things, there's parking.
I know some Airbnbs in the neighborhood and everybody kind of minds their own business and takes care of things. You know, we just like to keep it that way because we had a war over this before. And it's not like you guys are.
Like I said, we just read the
Take care
notes,
of
but I was like,
business.
wowza.
We appreciate that. Walnut Street's gone through quite a upgrade and anything you can do to help. So, that's farm neighborhood, so I'm all for you guys doing it.
Any other questions or comments, board members?
No.
Okay, you can have a seat, folks.
Thank you.
Would anybody in the audience like to speak for or against? Yes, ma'am. Come on up here to the podium. And if you could give your name and address for the record. And before you start, we believe in free speech here. This is your government. But in light of the next meeting, I'd ask you to voluntarily limit yourself maybe to 3 or 4 minutes.
Probably won't take that long. I'm Betsy Vonderheide. I live at 413 East 3rd in the same block. I've been there for 10 years, and of course, I was there when the building was a total disaster. I had to call the police almost once a week to report abuse of different kinds, drug, child abuse, spousal abuse, just all kinds of things. These people sound like really nice folks, and they sound like they've got their ducks in a row, and they've got rules, and they're going to be careful about who they rent to. I just want to insist that the neighborhood insists that that be the case, because we can't go through that again. I personally found out who owned the building the other time and wrote him a letter and had everybody on the street sign it to say how awful it was. And he moved rather quickly. Then it was up for rezoning again, which got turned down. Anyway, I just want to say these folks sound pretty nice, and the family that they did rent to, I don't know that they're still there, were very quiet and very respectful. We had no problem with them. So while we may have we're a little nervous, to tell you the truth, but I'm pleased that somebody's going to do something with it. Also, I would like to suggest that they do something with the outside of the building as well, because it just doesn't go with a block anymore. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Becky.
Anybody else like to speak for or against? Yes, sir. And once again, I ask you to voluntarily limit yourself to maybe 3 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. So I own the property, or my wife and I own the property. It's an Airbnb adjacent to 401 East 3rd.
Could you give your name and address?
Gary Leiter, 220 Sunrise Drive.
Okay, thank you.
So we own the property at 407 East 3rd. We've had it for 10 years. I don't want to repeat what Betsy said, but she's definitely correct on all fronts that the property before was an eyesore. My question now, and I'm definitely not opposed to the owners fixing it up, but it is in more of a dilapidated state today than it was when it was a 4-apartment building. So if you've driven by there, you can see that the outside part of that building it's an eyesore. So I've owned rental properties for years. If you're going to have an eyesore as a building, you're going to attract tenants that will kind of reciprocate that, because that's what happened before. So I guess my question is, what are we going to do to make sure that that property is actually fixed up from the outside? Because if you drive down there today, it would be hard to get really good tenants to go and stay in that property for a lengthy period of time. And all you have to do is drive by and take a look at it. So that's my question. What are we going to do to kind of protect the integrity of that street?
Would staff like to make a comment?
Well, that's the owner.
Well, yeah, let's let the owners say something about that.
Sure. If you could,
So should I sit down or sit?
yeah, you can have a seat, sir. If one of you or both of you, you got to come up here, please. So, can't hear you way back there.
So, yes, we absolutely intend on fixing the outside of the building up. However, we need finances to be able to do that. So, he's absolutely right with the kind of people that we're attracting. However, the inside of our units are very attractive. So, we are trying to build up some of that income so that we can use that money to and turn around and fix the outside. I've also talked to Nicole about the PACE grant type thing. So, again, we're newer to Madison, so we're learning about all of this stuff as well. So
you're going from the outside in? Or the
inside out,
right?
correct, yes, yep. There's a lot going on the inside.
Right, yeah.
So you're doing extensive screening of people to make sure you get good people that'll take care of won't make any problems and pay their rent, and then
Yes, sir. We're
build
very
up
busy, and I have no interest in adding any more workload to ourselves. So we price it where it's a higher price range, but then also we get plenty of people to pick from, and we pick good candidates. So
Have you thought about what you want the outside to look like?
yes, I have a very large Pinterest board. So, but yes, and I've also done a lot of the research on the historical side of Madison as well that I'm working on. And then actually one of the neighbors had stopped by to recommend like a light green color. So yes, we've talked a lot about it so
And you
far.
said you own property already on Walnut Street?
Correct.
Did you say that?
3 other buildings, 3. Yes.
would staff like to add anything? Make any comments?
No, just any exterior changes will have to go through historic board review or staff review, so we've been working with them, and they know that already.
Could you talk about some of the changes you have made on the inside? Like, have you redone like kitchen and all this stuff, or?
Yes, so the one unit that is rented out, we ripped everything out. So like I mentioned before, there was a lot of mice and things like that. So we actually had to go into all 4 units and pull things out because there was stuff from previous tenants in all 4 units and in various stages of array and things like that. So we actually went and pulled everything out, and then the top unit we've replaced, my husband can answer, he does all that work, but we've replaced the kitchen, so it's got a brand new kitchen and vanities and all of that stuff. And then the HVAC unit, we've done all of that activity, and so, but we've also had to do a lot of the piping and stuff that goes into the lower units. We've already been working on that because it all ties together somehow. So we found a lot of leaks, a lot of issues from before.
I might add, from my experience on the board,
I does.
been my experience on the board for quite a few years now, that when somebody comes here and says they're going to upgrade, they do. That the people that are serious about making better places are honorable people. That's been my experience over the years. And the ones that are not honorable, well, that was just ask around. Somebody will tell you the history of this thing. And there you'll, enough said. Well, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Would anybody else like to speak for or against this? Yes, sir. And once again, I'll ask you to voluntarily limit yourself to about 3 minutes.
Randy Bellamy, 409 East 3rd Street, and I live a couple doors down from this building. The last renters that they had, there were like 3 different adults that were going in and out and so forth, and there were 3 different vehicles parked out there. They were working on their cars out on the street out there, and they would sometimes leave some of their car parts in the parkway and things like that. And that was and they left just a little bit ago, so a little while ago. So I kind of question if they're doing all the screening and everything that they say they are, what's going on? That doesn't seem to line up for me.
Okay, thank you. Would the owner like to come back and answer that?
Yes, so our previous tenants did just move out. They had 1 car that was theirs. I know he did work on some of his friends and family vehicles, or he may have upgraded his Mustang, I think he was working on, but they did not have 3 cars. He did have his sister visiting, so she had just recently moved out of state, had a baby, but there was a, I don't think they were married. It was a couple and then 1 child, so. And I actually worked with this gentleman, so I am familiar with his family situation.
Well, thank you. But we'll take, at least I will take you at your word that in the section where you say you screen people, you're going to do that in the future. Yes, sir, would you like to speak? If you could give your name and address for the record and...
Bob Shainstein, 523 Walnut. This property is right across the street from what I own at 501 and 503 Walnut, which I feel like I take pretty good care of. In my personal opinion, and if you've got landlords out of town, I don't think they necessarily take care of their properties as they should if they live in Madison. Cutting grass is one of them. Okay, I cut grass every week. This doesn't affect me as much as it does the people on 3rd Street. And I want to remind the board there's like 4 B&Bs within a block of this on 3rd Street. Parking is going to be an issue. We have the similar problem at the firehouse. Carl may have already mentioned that. So I'm not necessarily against it, but if they want to do 1 more, that's fine. That's okay if it's okay with the people on 3rd Street, but they got to take care of it. In the past, that was not the case. It was a teetotal mess. Thank you.
Anybody else in the audience like to speak for or against, have something to say? Board members, any other questions or comments?
Is there any yard with this property? I don't know if there's yard. I didn't think there was. But I just want to make sure. Is there any yard with the property?
We have a question for the owners.
There is not a yard. There is the little strips by the sidewalks. So I think there's like 3 strips.
And where do you guys live?
We live in North Vernon, but we work in Carrollton, so I drive by the property every day just to make sure I don't see anything odd happening. But
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And I've seen this building. I moved back, I think in 95 when I moved back to town. And I lived on 317 East Third, so I was a block down. So I remember what this property looked like from years ago. So I think that any improvement would be something.
And, well, I think everybody's had time for a say, so I'll declare the time for comment closed. This is a conditional use permit for Category 130 apartments, so we'll go through our findings of fact like we did before. The first one, this is Category 130. Any disagreements, board members? That's appropriate.
No.
Second one, objectives of the comprehensive plan. Any disagreements?
No.
Third one, harmonious with the intended character of the area, so forth. Any problems?
No.
Hazardous or disturbing? Any problems?
No.
And I'll say with enforcement of the rules, I think that that one will be minimized. Number 5 is utilities. Any issues?
No.
Number 6, detrimental to the welfare, economic welfare.
No.
No.
Number 7, excess production of traffic, noise, etc.
No.
Any issues?
No.
Number 8, vehicular approaches. Any problems?
No.
No, I don't even think that's an issue. And number 9, loss of historic features.
No.
Well, having gone through our findings of fact, board members have indicated no objections. I move we approve this conditional use. Before I do this, board members, you've read the staff recommendations. So I will move we approve this conditional use for a period of 1 year. If there are no complaints, it will be increased to a 3-year renewal. Occupancy limit of 2 people per occupiable bedroom, 3, maximum 2 apartments, and 4, enforcement of the process of screening tenants that they submitted as finding of fact number 3. That's my motion.
Second.
And can we have a roll call?
Carl Eaglin,
Yes.
Scott Baldwin,
Yes.
Mark Acosta,
Yes.
Rick Ferris,
Yes.
Nancy Burkhart.
Yes.
Well, we wish you well. And we appreciate you trying to take care of what was an enormous problem. Next item on the agenda, BZVD-25-10, Landon Ralston, requesting a variance from developmental standards, allow 10-foot setbacks, 1301 East Scenic View Drive, residential agriculture. Yes, sir, if you could come up. And before you begin, board members, we received a picture, I assume you're Mr. Ralston, from Mr. Ralston of his proposed house. I move we accept this into the official record.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. It is accepted. Yes, sir.
1970 Cliffy Drive.
And could you tell the problems you're having?
I'm not having any problems.
Well,
I'm just requesting a variance for lot size. I'm just requesting a variance for lot size and setbacks.
well, I should have said instead of problems. You live in a subdivision which is residential agriculture, which was supposed to have had 1-acre lots, but way back 1990-something, they approved a subdivision that did not have 1-acre lots and had no variance, and ended up in court twice that I know of over another property up there. And here you are on a 3/4 acre lot, which has certain what is it, 20-foot setbacks,
Yes,
and you're on a pie-shaped lot.
yes.
So in order to build a home similar to what's up there, you have all kinds of troubles fitting into your lot and strictly following the zoning ordinance.
Yes.
And that's what I meant by problems. So, board members, do you have any questions, comments? Would staff like to add anything about this?
No, I think you pretty well covered it.
Would the legal department like to add anything?
This is probably the fourth time we've done this, so it's kind of just par for the course at this time.
It's what happens when you don't follow the rules. The only issue I have, I see a picture of your house, but you did not submit a site plan, at least one that I've seen.
There should have been one in the application.
Well, I have this picture, which has no
He has
site.
measurements for where the setbacks would end up.
You requested on north, south, east, and west, instead of the required 20 foot, you want 10 foot,
Yes, please.
but somehow I did not get a sketch.
I didn't either.
Do any of you have a sketch on your devices or printouts?
No, this picture shows that it is a pie-shaped lot, and those are hard to deal with.
We just, in the same meeting, had an issue with well, we haven't covered it yet, but we've had issues before of requests, but no site plan. And it doesn't have to be fancy, just
Okay.
a sketch. So we know exactly where you want to put your house and the problems you're facing.
I have a building plan.
Does it include a site plan? Like where it actually sits on this lot?
It does not.
Because this is all I have. It just shows an outline of your pie-shaped property, and here's a little chunk here. So personally, I hesitate to approve of a variance without seeing a sketch.
I think he's gonna.
I mean, the board can do what it wants to, but he would have to submit a building plan prior to getting a building permit. And so if you wanted to, you could approve it based upon, or contingent upon, the building inspector approving his building permit pursuant to what you guys are approving with the 10-foot setbacks.
So you're saying we could approve a variance with the applied for 10-foot setbacks contingent upon,
Yeah, I think it saves him having to come back and the time, and I don't think there's any problem with that.
I agree. Any other questions or comments, board members? Would anybody in the audience like to speak for or against this application? Well, seeing none, you can have a seat, sir. This is a variance of developmental standards. Once again, we have our three criterion. So in the interest of time, I'll just ask if board members, do you have any problems? Number one, injurious to the public health, any problems?
No.
Number two, adjacent property values, any issues?
No.
Number three, practical difficulties. Can you see that there are? Well, having gone through those, I move we approve this variance for 10-foot setbacks on the northeast, west, and south sides, contingent upon approval by the building inspector.
I'll second the motion.
We have a roll call?
Scott Baldwin?
Yes.
Carl Eaglin?
Yes.
Rick Ferris?
Yes.
Nancy Burkhardt?
Yes.
Mark Acosta?
Present.
Well, sir, we wish you well.
Next door to him.
Yes, I must note that Board Member Acosta had to abstain, he couldn't vote. For the simple reason, he lives next door and I believe you sold.
Sold a lot to him, yeah.
He sold a lot and he lives next door. He can't vote
I
on
could
it.
have bias.
He has an interest in the issue.
Yeah.
Last one on the agenda, BZVD-25-11, Will Estheimer. Variance from developmental standards, requesting 2 feet from north lot line, 8 feet from east, 2212 Taylor Street. Yes, sir, and if you could come up and give your name and address for the record, explain.
My name is
What you're
Will
doing?
Estheimer at 2212 Taylor Street. There were 2 existing barns there. The one was made from pallets, was very sketchy, leaning over. I figured a good stiff wind would blow it over, but we tore it down, and I'm wanting to replace those with a 30 by 50. And aesthetically pleasing to the neighborhood. I got a text message right before it came here. The church has they're not coming tonight, but they have no issues with what I'm doing at all. So it's just, I got a gas line that runs through the middle of my yard on the one side, so I'm trying to allow a little bit of clearance here. So at 30 by 50 puts me right on their property line, and it's about 8 feet off of the variance or the easement that runs between our properties. So
How tall is the building gonna be?
10 foot. It's really like a garage. I want to put a little larger doors, 8 by 9s, so you have to have a 10-foot ceiling. That's the reason why I'm going a little bit bigger.
Any other questions or comments, board members? I'll note I drove by your property and I saw there's an immense yard, which I assume belongs to the church, right
Yeah, they
adjacent.
own all the north side.
And then, I guess would be on the east side, it looks like a ditch or something like
Yeah,
that?
that runs right through their property, yeah. I talked to them about buying some of that, but it's owned by a conglomerate of churches or something, so it would take months to get something approved, so I'm trying to stay on my own little corner.
So you're saying church property is to the north,
Well, when
big
you look
lot?
at my place, their property, that big open lot there is all their church. I mean, they own the ground there, and then the lady behind me owns all the property directly behind me.
Okay.
How far from the gas line could you build?
Right now, I'm gonna be about 10 feet away from it, so. And they said 10 to 12 feet, so I can't build over top of it without moving it.
Right.
So,
And that's the
Obviously.
project.
Any other questions, comments, board members? Would anybody in the audience like to speak for or against this proposed variance? Well, seeing none, you can have a seat, sir. And once again, I will, in interest of time, I'll just ask board members if you have any objections to the 3 criterion. First one, injurious to the public safety, et cetera.
No.
Second one, property values.
No.
Third one, the practical difficulties. Do you agree there are practical difficulties?
Yes.
Well, having gone through those, and I would agree that presence of a gas line is a definite difficulty. We'll take a motion.
I make a motion to approve BZVD-25-11.
Second.
I think we have a roll call.
Earl Eglin,
Yes.
Mark Acosta.
Yes.
Scott Baldwin.
Yes.
Rick Ferris.
Yes.
Nancy Burkhart.
Yes.
We started the meeting with Mr. Rotet, 826 Filillmore. Is he here? Somebody? Did somebody say yes? Oh, okay. And I move we table.
Here it comes. Yes, sir.
Oh,
There we go.
Yes, and if you could give your name and address for the record, sir?
Claude Rote, 820 Filillmore Street.
And could you explain what you're planning to do?
Well, I own 820 and 826. And I want to join the two pieces of property into one piece. And then I want to apply for a zero setback to see if I'd like to build a two-car garage, but I think I don't have enough room but for one.
And you were here in January, and we requested a site plan where you plan to put your garage and so forth.
I gave her a site plan.
You took it back with you, you never gave it to me.
Do you have it with?
I did. Might be part of it. This is what you need or not. I'll give this to you and you tell me if it's what you need or not.
Yep.
I thought I gave it to them.
Oh, they're all the same copy, right? You two can look at that one. You could share one here. Well, you've got a survey here.
I had it surveyed, I've had my utilities marked, and
So you own lots,
the address 820, 826.
which one of these lots do you own? For my 5 or 6?
Right beside the bridge.
I might be able to help a little bit here,
Okay.
because
You
I
own-
think, I might be able to help a little bit here, because I think what he's giving you there is a survey,
Mhm.
and he's also on the agenda for the Plan Commission to
Right.
combine the lots. So, I mean, I don't know what's on the survey, if it depicts where it is,
Ah.
but that's certainly,
The survey.
that certainly suffices as a,
Well, I can't make a
Right, there's
plan
his,
for my garage or anything until I know if I get to zero setback or anything.
understood.
so this part here is state of Indiana, Rote is right here, 11 feet of lot 5 block. So you're satisfied that if we give him the setbacks,
I am, and again, he's got to get a building permit in order to do so, and so I don't think there's any
What do you mean,
problem.
to build a garage or to get the setback?
To build the garage, because if you'll stick around, you're gonna come back up one more time for the Plan Commission to get the official approval to combine the lots.
Okay.
Okay, this was just for the setbacks, and then that'll be for the lots. And it's a little confusing, I get it.
Well, I know
Yeah.
I'm going to go through a lot of steps.
Yeah,
but-
so, but if you can just, once this gets done, if you'll just hang tight, we'll get you early on the agenda.
All right.
do you have any questions or comments, board members?
No.
Do we need to enter one of these into the
Yeah,
official
I think
record?
we do. I move we accept this surveyor's certificate into the official record.
Second.
And all in favor, say aye. Aye. Pose no. So any other questions or comments, board members?
No.
Would anyone in the audience like to speak for or against this application?
Here, you can have one of these back. We don't need all of them.
Yeah, we'll give him some after
Hang
the
on to
meeting.
it until I come back up there again.
That's all right. We'll take care of that after the meeting. Well, you can have a seat, sir.
All right, thank you.
Hearing no comments from the audience, board members, one last chance. We will go through our findings of fact. The first one, board members, injurious to the public health, safety. Any comments, objections?
No objection.
Number two, adjacent property values. Any issues?
No impact.
And number three, the practical difficulties. Are you satisfied in your mind there are practical difficulties?
Yes.
We will take a motion.
I move we accept BZVD-24-49.
I'll second the motion.
And could we have a roll call?
Rick Ferris,
Yes.
Nancy Burkhart,
Yes.
Mark Acosta,
Yes.
Carl Eaglin,
Yes.
Scott Baldwin.
Yes. Well, that concludes our agenda, unless I've forgotten something. A motion to adjourn,
So moved.
second.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Pose no. We are adjourned. And when do you want to begin the next meeting?
Probably about 5 minutes.
So, we will vacate.
I need to eat one crumb.